Welcome you all to the SK Crypto event tonight. Looking forward to listening and hearing all about this. But first off, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Walter. I am part of the WeWork community team here. And for those who don't know what we do here at WeWork, we are a global workspace provider. We're based all over the world. We are now boasting a platform of 500,000 members. We're happy to say we've reached 5 continents. The way we want to empower our members is through community to facilitate relationships and communications, networking. We want to offer a great space both for work, for events, entrepreneurial, networking, all that. If you'd like to know more about WeWork, how to become a member or host an event, you can come find me at the community bar, and I'll be glad to answer all your questions. Thank you, everybody. Welcome. Bye.
Thank you very much for WeWork. We're always really privileged for you allowing us to host our meetups here. Also, thank you very much all for coming. It's a very wet evening in London, and I'm sure that you all have a lot of other things to be doing, but we really are honoured by your attendance. Our community is really core at SVK Crypto. The amount of support that we actually get here in London with what we do each and every month, not only for our meetups but our investments, it's pretty much astounding. So I'm always talking about London being the blockchain capital of the world, but really it's definitely the community capital of the world, and you're all very much invited for this evening. So thank you all so much for giving us your time and attention, and it's going to be a really cool little meetup. But more importantly, apart from what we're going to talk about at SVK and our amazing panelists, it's about networking, and I'm really privileged and focused to meet and know so many of you people here that I've seen here before, but also please take the time to turn around to the person next to you or someone at the bar. I think that the feedback that I've received is that so many people get to meet so many people here, so it's a real networking opportunity for you guys as well, so thank you. Very brief introduction, my name is Kehoe. I'm one of the co-founders at SVK Crypto. Of course, we have a stellar team. I'm here with my partner and co-founder, Hugh Cochran, who's just over here to the left, and then all the other gentlemen who are walking around with black t-shirts. Charles, who's head of strategic partnerships. Oliver, who's our blockchain analyst, who's going to be doing the panel on gaming. Marco, who creates all the content, and also some very new interns, so you're very much welcome to our family. Thank you so much for coming today. Of course, our background has been across management consultants, hedge fund industry, and private equity. We are now solely focused on this amazing opportunity called blockchain technology. It's what we do, it's how we do, and it's how we live our lives. We are laser focused and so passionate about this space. Of course, if you want to connect with us, we're a really open policy. We really try to remain engaged with not only projects, but also anybody who's looking to invest into our fund, or anybody who's got an idea, who wants to partnership, or anything. We're always trying to promote the space in general. So if you're looking to connect with us, we're really easy to find. We have an awesome Telegram group. I think it has about 1,800 people, called SVK Crowd. Of course, Twitter, which is great because it's where a lot of people tend to do battle nowadays. Of course, we create content that's under SVK Crypto on YouTube, and of course we do a great podcast, not monthly, not weekly, but actually each and every day. I think we're about to do 400 podcasts, which is a pretty big number, but we like to talk about everything which is going on in this space, so please feel free to engage with our social community, and hope that adds value to you. Apart from the social side and the meetups, we are at the core of our business a venture capital fund. We have a fund called Cryptagon EOS. Cryptagon EOS, probably giving away the name now since I look at it, is backed by a company that some of you may know called BlockV. BlockV are the guys behind the EOS IO protocol. BlockV, as you know, had raised a staggering amount of capital, $4.2 billion, or in excess of. They did that without an investment bank. Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, even Deutsche Bank just around the corner. They did that with a token generation event in history. They've taken $1 billion of that capital to really deploy into the ecosystem, and they've done that by partnering up with lots of other venture capital firms geographically placed around the world. We are one of those venture capital firms based here in London, and we're really proud that they've looked at London in order to make that investment. Some of the other venture capital firms in that EOS ecosystem is Galaxy Digital, like Novogratz, who I'm sure some of you have heard of, and of course Eric Schmidt, who's ex-Google and ex-Alphabet, is also running Tomorrow VC. So it's a real who's who of venture capital, and we're really proud to be in that syndicate. With regards to Cryptic on EOS, this is a fund that we advise on. It's a 50 million targeted AUM. We are actually deploying capital. We've just had our 4th investment, which we're really happy about. Our 4th investment was alongside Galaxy Digital and Climate Perkins. But on some of the other investments, we've been on a cap table with the likes of Google Ventures, Alibaba, Linden Labs, Blockchain Capital, and Galaxy Digital. So it's been an amazing ride since inception of Q4 of last year. The fund is still open, so if you do know anybody who is an accredited investor, institution, high net worth, we are still raising capital, and we'll probably have that closed by year end. Amazing opportunity, obviously I'm not just saying that because we're advising on it, but certainly when you look at the investments that we've made, we're really, really proud about that. So we're happy to have engaged in a conversation with anybody who might know or anybody who's looking to invest in, as long as you're a high net worth or a institution or a accredited investor. So that's our fund. We're happy to have any meetings. If anyone wants to talk to us any about that later on, we're happy to do so. But tonight is not about SVK crypto solely. It's actually about 2 panels which we're really passionate about. Women in blockchain. We really believe that when we come across the investors, the computer developers, the voices, the leaders, the social media experts within blockchain that are female, they are really batting way above what they're actually accounted for. So we really wanted to support that, and we do that in lots of different ways. Every Thursday we have a Women in Blockchain podcast, but tonight we have a panel solely focused on women, and it's amazing that Jess is going to be moderating that. I'm really proud to have it. She's one of the block producers from EOS. Teana, of course, from Global Digital Finance, Anastasiya from Fabric Ventures, and of course Sara from Clearmatics. Really happy to have those ladies. After that, which is going to be about a 20-minute panel, we're going to have some time for Q&A. We're going to have a little gaming panel, which we're also very, very passionate about. That's going to be headed up by Oliver, who's our blockchain analyst as moderator, John Knight from BlockV, Robby from Animoca Brands, Paul from Stick Sports, and James from Blockchain Gamer. So without further ado, I think let's kick this off in fine style, and let's have a big round of applause for Jess and the ladies in blockchain. All right. Women in blockchain are all very welcome. Here you go.
Thank you. Okay, this end. Thanks everybody, thanks Shane for hosting us here this evening. I hope it's the start of females on every panel here at SVK. And to kick off, I'm going to kick off with how I normally finish the Thursday podcast, which is with a quick fire round. So literally 1 word or maximum 2 word answers. Your name and your company, just so that we can associate you with your name on the board.
Sara Feenan from Clearmatics.
Anastasiya from Fabric Ventures.
Teana Baker-Taylor, Global Digital Finance.
And how long, roughly in years, have you been in blockchain?
5. 3. Yeah, 5.
Amazing. So we've got a wealth of experience here. Some other things. Last book you read and marked out of 10?
Currently reading a book called The Death of Gods, which sounds really cheery, but it's actually quite good. I haven't finished it yet, so I will hold judgment, yeah.
The Unbearable Likeness of Being by Mehr. 8.
I forgot. The legal by Bitcoin billionaires, I think it is.
Nice. Okay. And if you could be a founder of a company, any company, not just a crypto company, what would it be? Let's start at the other end, Teana.
A gelato chain.
Amazing.
Everybody loves gelato. Like, you know, nobody starts a Twitter war about gelato. Gelato's happy.
It's difficult to beat now. I was thinking more like CryptoKitties or something.
That's a great one. time. So let's dive a bit more into some of the serious blockchain stuff. Teana, you're an executive director of Global Digital Finance, which is an industry body promoting the adoption of best practices for crypto assets. And I guess you have a really lovely position in that middle of regulators and large corporates and startups. You're right there. Can you give us a little bit of insight into what's happening right now at the corporate level? There's been big news this week, which we'll talk about, but more broadly, what's happening at corporate level?
So are you talking about enterprise blockchain?
Yeah.
So I think there's we're having a lot of conversations about moving from the constant use case POC into scaling projects. So there's a number of live projects today that are actually solving some real world problems. We've got Mehr doing real-time shipping information. We have FedEx doing conflict resolution on blockchain. So there are actual efficiencies that are being gained by using the technology. I think what we're also seeing too is the move from consortia blockchain from the not-for-profit space, where it's like quite easy for people to rally around something and have this touchy-feely kumbaya, into more traditional competitor areas, and people come together in consortia to solve real problems that they have. And so we're moving from the kind of the permission space and the completely unpermissioned space to this middle ground, I think, which is really, I think, where we're going to start to see some scale.
And do you get involved in those sort of, I think one of the big things for these companies who are competitive then coming together is how to govern it. It's a totally different way of working with each other. Yeah. Is that something that at Digital Finance you do much of?
Well, so lots of our members and our community certainly are working on projects like that. So I was at a panel earlier today and we're talking with the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance and Hyperledger around how they're building their communities and how people are coming together in different consortia for different types of projects. And I think that one of the areas where we're starting to see, not necessarily less competition, but I came from a bank, and you could have a bunch of banks sitting around a table. We understand what the problem we're trying to solve is. We understand how we're going to get there. Everybody is in vast agreement, and then you spend 6 months arguing over who owns the IP. So that's not productive. So I think that as more of these projects start to roll out, we start to understand the real value of open source, and it's actually not necessarily about the IP where the value sits.
I think one of the big projects that many of you in the room will have read about this week is obviously Facebook's Libra project, which is a great example of lots of different industry bodies or companies coming together to launch sort of long anticipated Facebook coin or Libra. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think if you put aside any feelings that you may or may not have, positive or negative, about Facebook as an entity, I think from a crypto perspective, what's interesting is many of us have been saying for a while, what's the killer app that's going to take this mainstream? Now, maybe you sit in the ideology camp that you don't want it to be mainstream, right? That you don't think that it should be. But this is really bridging a number of areas. So I think one of the key things about what we know today, because there's lots of stuff we don't know yet, is that there's a lot of merchant acceptance. And that's where a lot of projects fall down. So you can have this great cool thing and you can trade it with friends, but nobody else accepts it. So it's not going to scale. So I think that's really interesting. I think that the idea that it is permissioned and moving to permissionless is interesting. I don't necessarily know in a good way. I don't know how that's going to happen. But I think the fact that they put this into a foundation and supposedly don't have control over it is probably a positive step.
Sara, you at Clearmatics build and help build these member-owned and governed networks. What are your thoughts on particularly this governance aspect of Libra? I think there's rumours that nodes are paying $10 million to sort of be. Oh, is that's true? There we go. What do you think about how this governance is what we know so far?
I think on the face of it, I agree with a lot of what Teana said with regards to governance and also about a number of different organisations be a validator node. Now, I believe that they're going to eventually have 100 different validator nodes spread across different jurisdictions, geographically, and also different industries. And you can see that now when you look at the list of investors. You've got VCs, you've got ride-sharing apps, there's of course Facebook, and there's more social media as well, and there's some non-profit organisations, and obviously some Vodafone and some payment rails. Exactly. So there's some big names in this consortium already. So it's obviously very hard hitting. Whether or not a Swiss foundation is the right way to go, I don't know. Let's look at Tezos. And I think there's another really big elephant in the room, which is in terms of regulation, they're issuing something that's backed by a basket of currencies. There's already regulation around that. That's e-money issuance. You're not actually allowed to pay any interest to those that store money that you can issue a digital version of. And they've claimed that they'll be paying their validator nodes interest. So there's lots of big regulatory questions, and not objectively, kind of wonder whether this is just a huge Silicon Valley one platform to all play. But I guess we'll watch this space.
Well, Anastasiya, I think you operate very much with the sort of smaller startups and in a sort of often more decentralized end of the spectrum than these sort of very public blockchains. What are your thoughts on Facebook's Libra?
So I think I'll play a little bit of a devil's advocate here. I feel like obviously things are quite unclear at this point. It's hard to judge definitely what their future will hold. But I think on some levels at least, it is a little bit uncomfortable for me kind of the direction they're taking. So one aspect is, to me, one of the core properties of blockchain and crypto is the fact that you are moving away from don't be evil to can't be evil in terms of user privacy, user data, and where you're not actually trusting someone not to make bad decisions with data, and rather you're building it by default into the properties of technology. While with Facebook, even though they're promising that, we're not going to store your data, they're giving you that promise that we're not going to do anything bad with it, we're going to separate the social from financial data, and we're going to own that 1%. I still feel like you're promising me that, but can I take your word for it? Like, do I have to take your word for it? So that's kind of one aspect. And then the other aspect is, I still feel like sort of the 100 companies that they've set out to have as validators, it kind of seems a little bit as an oligarchy in some sense, where if you were to think of it from a kind of global perspective, they are they're pursuing some sort of financial organization in some sense, where they are they are backing their labor with just basket of currencies, and a whole bunch of sort of personal companies and corporations benefit from their sort of interest on that. And then the economies in all these sort of third world countries are going to end up not really having that path to sustainable growth, or actually having their own sovereign economies. So I think that's also a little bit of a problem. And actually, in fact, some countries like France and Northern America has already expressed some caution around what's going on with that and how Facebook is trying to make this kind of supranational currency business there.
Can we do an audience poll? Can you put your hand up if you trust Facebook right now with all your data? So that's a good.
Yes, can we do another poll? Who uses WhatsApp? Be honest. Okay, put your hands down. Who uses Instagram? You're using Facebook.
For sure, that's utility. It doesn't mean that we're trusting the data, we're happy with the data.
But so is being able to make a payment on your phone. So I mean, I'm not disagreeing with anything that you just said, and it clearly is a big tech play, and clearly there are people that can afford to spend 10 million on a node, but actually isn't that much money when you really think about it. But there is a balance, and there is going to be a trade-off between scaling the technology and being, I don't want to say married to or rooted within this idea that it has to look and it has to be a certain way. There's an evolution to everything. Now, I mean, I have my own personal opinions about Facebook and that are kind of irrelevant for this conversation, but I do think that you have to weigh the good and the possible, or the bad and the possible. I don't think it's clear cut. The one thing though that I do want to say is it's not a blockchain. So I think that's one thing that many people haven't gotten their arms around yet. There are no blocks. So I mean there are elements of ways that you validate information that a blockchain has, but this doesn't have any blocks. So I think as we start to learn more about the architecture and the infrastructure and how this is going to work, we will see that it's an evolution. It is not blockchain.
That's maybe another sort of good question to ask. If all of your friends and family were using Facebook Libra as a means of payment, and that was the easiest way to buy things in shops or with merchants, would you start using it? No one's putting up their hand. There's lots of people nodding. So I think that answers the question. I think it's this adoption, this trajectory of adoption is something that's such a difficult balance in terms of all the things that we would like to see as part of a project, and if they can reach to
I don't think it's necessarily designed for Western societies too. I think some of the benefits are for places where we were discussing earlier. If this can be an extension of an M-Pesa platform where you're able to monetize your airtime in a way that is more transferable than it is today, I think that's interesting, right? India's come out and said that there's a crypto ban, right? 10 years in jail, they're going to pass this law. But there are other areas like India where it is very difficult. They don't have Venmo. So I don't necessarily think that some of the benefits that could be achieved by a solution like this are really designed for us.
That's a really good point. Sorry, just going back to this kind of regulation thing, I think obviously we're seeing an increasing number of stable coins come into play, Libra being one of them. Many of them have historically been backed or pegged to a US dollar. And I think now we're starting to see either baskets of fiat currencies, even baskets of digital currencies, and the likes of reserves and things. What do you think is sort of the future of the stablecoin? Are we going to end up with one predominant one, whether that's Libra or something else, or do you think we're going to have various different ways of setting these things up?
Yeah, I certainly hope we won't move into one single one, whether it's Libra, which is its own currency, ultimately, we can argue about the details of that later, or it's something that's pegged to and therefore seen in the same way as the US dollar or GBP or euro. I think the importance of that, and whether these institutions are your tethers or your USDC, which are regulated as the money issuer, I certainly hope that, actually maybe it's an unpopular opinion here, but these issuers of these stablecoins or e-money will be licensed, because that actually affords investor protection, unlike tether. I certainly hope that there will be more than one stablecoin, more than one different currency, and I think that, for me, is from a resiliency perspective. We don't want one bank, for example. Some maybe want zero, but certainly don't want only one. So I think from a kind of jurisdictional resiliency perspective, yes, but from a consumer competition perspective, I really do hope that it moves towards more and better investor protection as well.
Anastasiya, at the sort of venture end, can you tell us a little bit about Fabric's thesis? And also, I'm really interested in how traditional VCs are kind of adapting to Web 3.0.
Yeah, so in terms of the kind of the broader perspective, I think the Web3 space, or kind of a combination of decentralized networks with AI and I guess edge computing on top of it, is something that requires specialist adaptations from traditional VC. And I think you can see that from all the way across the spectrum, sort of from the way you source these opportunities, which is quite different. There's sort of a whole absolutely sort of separate thread of, meetups, Twitter, everything that you have to try and have to be on top of what's going on, which is, buying in itself probably a full-time job for any fund or any person. So that's one element. Two, the value add that you can give as a VC fund. So I think the kind of concept of venture platform and what you're providing to the portfolio support has changed quite a bit in the Web3 adaptation from things like staking into network business back and quite very early sort of only early sort of supply side providers of that network and trying to kind of help them solve that problem in the very beginning. I think it's very important, and I think a lot of fund actually getting or not getting enough investment as part of the debate of whether they can do that. Two aspects like, I think just broadly, if you have a portfolio of projects that are complementary to each other and can collaborate and kind of create that whole ecosystem, I think that's massively more helpful than if you have one or two. So these are kind of some of the allocations, and from the geographic perspective, we're investing in very early stage projects, things that are at the intersection, as I mentioned, of sort of the decentralized networks that are creating this kind of new way of moving individuals towards a common goal, which has become possible, thanks to the technology. And then you kind of put that in combinations with the data structures that you're doing, algorithms that you kind of put on top of that, right providing data and data aspect. And then you kind of actually create much more personalized, much more kind of intimate transactional interactions between people, machines,
and the event tonight is all about the future of blockchain. We talked a little bit earlier about moving from proof of concept through to sort of the scaling thing. For all of you, if we were sat here in 3 years' time, where on that adoption curve do you think we would be? Make a prediction about the future. How many people around us would be using blockchain in their everyday lives?
How many people will be using blockchain in their everyday lives? Okay, I am of the belief, maybe unpopular, that people do not need to know and likely don't give a shit how the sausage is made. So I had a conversation once with a guy that used to train branch managers for banks, bank managers, and he said, every single bank manager needs to be able to explain blockchain to customers. And I said, what for? Why? Why would these people care? So I do think that we'll start to see, certainly at an enterprise level, which is actually not my area of specialty, but we're starting to see more of that now. I do think that we will start to see more real world convergence, whether that's in traditional finance and crypto and digital assets, whether that's gaming in crypto. And there's a number of areas where there are very clear synergies. But it's going to be materially different 3 years from now.
I think it might be quite. I think we are kind of with the type of companies that have been founded and built in the last couple of years. I think that we are moving towards that sort of much wider adoption in the next 3 years. If we're looking at that horizon, with starting from things like key management, where the person doesn't have to bother and remember their and all that, to branches and do that. And we're seeing Opera, for example, making that for through what's one of the very popular browsers today. So I think that kind of move will probably actually make things quite possible where people have no idea this is what it is, where people want to benefit without having to realize it. But I think 3 years is kind of like possible. Yeah. But I think that's changing quite heavily already today.
First of all, I love that they thought they would go to the branch managers to ask about blockchain. I think sort of on that point though, we've seen quite a lot of move away from the traditional banks as the relationship managers, and now people, retail people, not just people in this room, but the rest of the UK as well, think that banks should be better at technology, and certainly around Shoreditch, they're tech companies and they should really start acting like it. So when it comes to blockchain, I guess on the positive end of the scale, I'd like to think like Teana, like nobody knows we're using it. Perhaps even individuals don't know that we're using crypto via browser on ramps, and really easy to use, nice UX apps. Pessimistically, we might find that Libra has gone live in 3 years and we're all slaves to Mark Zuckerberg, I'm not sure. That's it.
That's a true dystopia. So I'm going to leave some questions, perhaps some time for Q&A at the end. I have one final question, which is just a fun one and not investment advice. But again, thinking about the future of crypto right now rather than just blockchain, Bitcoin's at $9,300. I wouldn't be surprised if you're really close to this. Where is it going to be on December 31st?
What would John McAfee say? Let's hope it's 100K for all of us.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it kind of depends where Facebook is, because there's sort of this culture of we're going to do everything to oppose work on the Bitcoin side. So I think actually you'll see a lot of the community gearing towards pushing price up. Who knows?
I'm going to quote Colin G. Platt and say that Bitcoin will be worth 1 Bitcoin at the end of this chat.
And the final audience poll, hands up if you think it will be higher than $9,300. I like that. Great. There's a good feeling in the room. Okay, I think we have about 5 minutes left, so I'd love to open up the floor to anybody who has a question for anybody on the panel. Very shy. Yes, please.
Why are there not more women?
Your question is
Why don't you ask yourself?
That's one answer. Teana, do you have a thought?
I think that there are more women in blockchain, and as you well know, I typically don't like to do these types of panels. This is not my jam. But I do think it's important to do them for specific people, for specific reasons, to encourage women to come to meetups, right? So there's other women around. And I think that certainly within the crypto space, sometimes women don't necessarily network in the same way that men do. And meetups can be daunting, right? And walking to a room, being the only woman, can be overwhelming. So I think there's probably more than you're aware of, but the environments aren't necessarily curated for us, potentially. So the few of us that are brave enough to show up need to keep doing that so that we encourage more women to do that.
Okay, that's a really great answer.
I think it also it's moving towards that more so now than it used to be before. I think, broadly speaking, if you look at the traditional sectors, a lot of people have moved into crypto from more traditional sectors like finance, and that historically has been male dominated. Today, I think that's changing across the industry, both traditional and also in crypto. And so I think we are seeing more and more kind of newcomers that are female, but still kind of much so at the higher level, that the culture, the more senior levels, are still fewer, but fewer because of the kind of finding it kind of
I'll add something, which is just to say that I think that there are a huge number of women in blockchain. Blockchain is something that is inherently collaborative and community-oriented, and there are some amazing women building amazing communities out there. And sometimes the two worlds just don't overlap with each other, and that's something that I think we all need to get better at. And for the most part, most crypto worlds are very welcoming to new people, and that's why it's wonderful that the ladies who joined me this evening is to sort of demonstrate these wonderful role models for the women who are just entering the space or who are thinking about entering it, to know that it's a great place to be. Any other questions? Yes, please.
In your own experience, what are the top reasons you can say where a project does not scale, from pilots to scale? What is your own
So
experience?
the question is, what are the main reasons that projects struggle to scale in this space? That's a great question.
Yeah, I think in some cases, and this is to Tina's point earlier, it's the people involved, with different egos, wanting to go in different directions, not facing towards the same goal, or having a slightly different definition of what that goal is. It's rarely technology, although blockchain is maybe a little bit different in that sense to traditional technologies, because it does literally have scaling problems. But I think that's, there's very many ways to kind of overcome that now, like network state channels. And over Facebook, various levels of centralization as well. So it's probably, I would say, the direction and vision not being set out at the start and getting enough buy-in and clarity from either the leaders or the people joining.
I would just add kind of from the VC perspective, I think specifically in the crypto world and sort of the kind of the wave of 2017 companies that have been created, it was the fact that they often set out that vision and set out a very specific journey without actually proving that there's a market fit to that, and they would raise huge amounts of funding, and they would raise huge communities and support for it without there being any reason for it to be successful. And then once you've done all of that, it's very difficult to pivot at that point and explain it to your investors and community and everyone that you're no longer doing that. And so projects would just collapse and people would move on. So I think that's actually something that we see is moving away from that and towards kind of raising smaller equity rounds from investors, taking the time to iterate, to think through the sort of the token economics, if there is a token, or sort of think through the general product market fit, and then you can either do a targeted token sale.
Yeah, one more question.
Yes. So banks traditionally have a pretty negative approach to companies in crypto and blockchain. JP Morgan decided what to do with their recent announcement. Do you think banks will have to readdress their strategy towards crypto blockchain companies in light of Libra?
So, yes, I mean I do. I mean that money has to be deposited somewhere. They're going to have cash management challenges, right? They're going to need a robust treasury system to account for all this money that's not reserved. I used to be a banker, and I'll tell you that I think when we look at the community, so I'm a regulatory advocate and I talk to people. Pardon?
Likewise.
Okay, so one of the challenges that I think that the community, crypto specific, has on average is credibility. So, if you've raised $2 million in a TGE and then the company goes bust or you never intended to deliver anything in the first place, there's a mark. If you aren't doing KYC and you're on purpose moving jurisdictions to jurisdictions to jurisdictions to evade any kind of regulatory oversight, you get a mark. So we haven't been great about bringing net new systemic change into financial services. So if you look at this existentially, anthropologically, I can't say that word, but you know what I mean? Human beings don't like change, right? I mean, we say we do. We want like the new cool thing, and the amount of early adopters is actually very small, right? Most people are comfortable the way that they're comfortable, and then change happens, and then you get comfortable with that. So financial services is a very staid, conservative business. They don't like change. And then you have stuff that happens within a brand new, net new, landscape changing environment, and then you add in some questionable behavior. So the difference between a startup and a large financial institution is I go to jail. People don't want to go to jail, right? So, obviously the risk appetite is all the way over here, right? And we need to kind of move it more toward the middle. But I would say that the more robust governance structures are, and this starts at a company level. So literally this is what I do every day. Talk with the community about how we're going to put standards and guidelines and roadmaps in place so that companies can come to market and act responsibly and ethically. And that means being accountable to your behavior and not going on Twitter and having a rant about, some of the stuff that we do just looks crazy if you're sitting in a financial institution and you think, I don't want any part of that. So I want to go to jail.
So I'm going to ask you, at Clearmatics been a bit involved, I think, in the utility settlement point between banks. And that's an example where actually banks are really starting to, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So it's, I guess, unfortunately, the frame of reference nowadays is a stablecoin. But when we started, it's a new cash asset that's backed one-to-one with reserves held at a central bank. and the design is around interbank payments. So there's a lot of banks in that sentence. But it's really behind the kind of vision of changing market infrastructure. And it's a kind of member-owned, member-governed type scenario. And this is not that scary to banks actually, because Swift is already that model. Lots of exchanges already have the C token model, so there's nothing that's particularly new. They've just not seen it come together in one new kind of interbank payments network with a blockchain as well. Wow. So that's kind of a rough, in a nutshell, description of the project. Just actually spun out a new entity now called Feenan. So they're going to be taking that on further, and I think I'm not sure about time frames yet, but probably not this year.
I think that we're up on time, but thank you all, particularly for people's questions in the audience, and thank you very much, everybody, for joining me on the panel.
Thank you so much, Jess, for moderating that, and also the four panelists, three panelists, four including Jess. Excellent questions, very topical, and thank you all very much for your insight. So, without further ado, in fine SVK crypto style, let's continue to roll on. Next panel and last panel is going to be decentralized gaming. Gaming, streaming, non-fungible tokens, avatars is something that at SVK Crypto we're very passionate about. When we look at mass adoption and we look at the different industry sectors and verticals where that's going to come from, we believe that the gaming space will be one of the first verticals to adopt blockchain technology on a mass market scale, something that we're very, very passionate about. And when we speak to all the gamers and all the developers, they really understand in-game economies, they understand NFTs, they understand mining, advertising, digital gold. Well, today's blockchain panel has the forefront of the UK and international gaming brands around. So without further ado, let's get a big round of applause and let me hand it over to Mehr, who's going to be moderating. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
All right. Yeah. All the panelists, okay, if everyone will just take a seat. Yes, as Shane says, I'm really excited to win this panel because gaming is personally an area where I think mass adoption will take place very quickly for blockchain technologies. And I think the kind of demographic that gamers are will adopt this technology seamlessly. But I'm going to get into this. I want to try and take you through a journey of like how I might look at the sector kind of from, the two sides. There's always usually two sides to the market. See the benefits from both sides, and then the use cases, and then the kind of, are we ready for this adoption yet, and then where we're going. So I want to throw it to the panel first to introduce themselves. Robby, do you want to kick it off?
Hi, I'm Robby Young. I'm the CEO of Animoca Brands. We're a mobile game company, and we've been, we like to think of ourselves, I guess, as a little bit of a leader in the blockchain gaming sector. We're based in Hong Kong, but have studios around the world. And are very active in particularly creating content from licensed brands.
Hi, my name is John Knight. I'm head of partnerships for BlockV. We have a fantastic technology. We built a platform that enables you to abstract underlying blockchain to create this incredible human engagement experience on top of it using augmented reality, Pokemon Go style map pickups and so on. So pretty cool tech, and we've actually got a bit of a demo going on. You can find the flyers.
I'm James from Blockchain Gamer. So I work as the editor for the site, and usually it just involves chasing around a bunch of the major names from the blockchain gaming space, and sometimes irritating them with our requests for questions and answers and that kind of thing. So we're involved in a lot of events as well. Some of them coming out of London, otherwise international, but our focus is mostly on hunting down the latest games developments.
Hello, my name is Paul Collins. I'm CEO of Stick Sports. I'm not huge on blockchain. We started a project last year, but our company is a games company that started back in 2004 on online, and then more recently mobile, reaching users all around the world. And we went down this path last year, so we had quite a lot of experience and tried out what blockchain would do for gaming.
Okay, thank you guys. So the first question I want to ask the panel is, for those who don't know, what are the benefits from a publisher's perspective, a brand, company or publisher's perspective, of incorporating blockchain into their games. Paul, do you want to start?
Yeah, it's the reason we went down this path. We tried it out last year. We saw that, I mean, when you're producing games, you have a singular relationship with each individual player, that you have all your users, and you're producing content, and they consume that content. And there's a business model around it, and there's different types of business models about how you sell that content and that engagement, essentially. And we saw blockchain as a shift in the way that you do that, quite simply because the idea of digital assets is not new within games. I mean, we've been selling tennis rackets in one of our games for about 7-8 years now. But then we don't actually sell them, and the consumer's not actually buying a tennis racket, even in digital form. He's buying a license to play with that racket. And that license